The only act of liberation that's really possible in this life is freeing yourself from like the lies. And the number one lie is I'm God.
Yeah.
And like I'm omniscient or was perfectly wise person, whatever. It's like, you make mistakes. You're a ridiculous primate.
It's a
covered
little
in
bit
fur. Like, just admit it.
There's just look, you got some things wrong.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between that and your entire foundation being built on hypocrisy and that hypocrisy being shown. Look, I mean, you can't make this stuff up, right? Ben Shapiro built a career opposing identity politics as a proud Zionist.
Yeah.
Now listen, feel however you feel about Zionism. It's identity politics. Like that is the definition of you could not find a better example of a politics built on an identity. And yet you're out here saying facts don't care about your feelings. Identity politics is wrong. And then while you're saying that, your number one priority is this manifestation of identity politics. You can only keep that charade going for so long.
No, it's totally true.
Before someone sees through it.
There's something in people that the lowest part of people that instinctively accuses others of doing what they're doing. And I've never really, that's the one thing I don't want to be, is a guy who does that. But I remember Bill Kristol, who I worked for years and really liked and was grateful to, and he was a great boss in the 90s, and came out against me and called me a Nazi and all this stuff, like without calling me. By the way, I called him and asked him to lunch. He refused. He wouldn't go to lunch with me. End of our relationship. But one of the criticisms against me, I'll never forget it, when I realized this phenomenon was real, was when he accused me of advocating, and I'm quoting, for an ethno-state. Now, I have a lot of flaws. They're all on display. I've never wanted an ethno-state. And I was like, wait, one of us is for an ethno-state, and it's not me. But you just said that, like, of all the possible criticisms.
It's just too unbelievable. I mean, it's like you just
Bill Kristol accusing me of wanting an ethno-state.
But you just like you almost like you can't even respond. You just have to go like.
It's like I didn't say anything. I was like, okay,
right, yeah.
People can't hear themselves. I mean, when people get old, they tell the same stories, and you just when you love them, you're indulgent. But I just hope that doesn't happen to me. I hope I don't lose all self-awareness to the point where I've got like lunch on my chin and like accuse other people of doing exactly what I'm doing.
Yes,
exactly what I'm doing.
While you're going, you have lunch on your chin. Like that's you don't want to be there.
I don't want to be that guy.
And I think that there's like, look, obviously, like we're living through something, we're probably living through several things that are very profound, but one of the most profound things has been this revolution in information and the technology, and it's led to this like kind of mass decentralization of media.
Yes.
And where there's now like there's so many things and shows and different voices. I find people all the time who I've never heard of before, and I'm sure you've had this experience too. You'll find someone, you'll be like, oh, that guy's actually really smart. People should know about this guy.
Really smart.
How many followers? 7 million. Oh, he's got 7 million followers. Oh, he's huge. Like I just found some guy who is bigger than anyone on cable news, and I didn't even know he existed, And so now it's just because of this dynamic, there aren't, as the corporate media apparatus, like big newspapers and big cable news shows and things, was very controlled. Very controlled. The range of allowable opinion was very narrow. It's what my good friend and brilliant historian Tom Woods always called the 3x6 card of allowable opinion.
Exactly.
You get this little area of allowable opinion, and then that's where the conversation takes place. That's been shattered into a million pieces. And now there's voices from all over the place, and some good and some great and some bad and really bad. But it's just much harder for people to, that control existed so that you don't get exposed, so that you could go like, look, even the right winger, John McCain, agrees. Or even the far left activist, Nancy Pelosi. I mean, it's like, dude, I have to hear
or
Hannity.
AOC.
Dude, Sean Hannity goes, the far left, Nancy Pelosi. And it's like, how many leftists have you actually talked to in your life? How many leftists have you ever read? You think Nancy Pelosi's a far leftist? Like, really?
Living on her vineyard in Napa?
Yes. All these different, these different tools of corporations are left and right. But so that's over now. And now I think it's much tougher to keep this charade going.
So one of the easiest decisions you're going to make this week is to make your home secure with Simply Safe. The moment you arm your system, your family and everything you work for is protected. And you can focus on what matters. You can leave the house without worrying that someone is going to break in and steal your stuff, violate your sanctuary, because the best security system in the country is watching. Millions of Americans use Simply Safe and enjoy the peace of mind it creates. Now, a traditional burglar alarm only goes off when someone breaks into your house. That's not good enough. Smashed a window, was already in your basement. Simply Safe prevents burglaries before they happen. It's got AI-powered cameras and live professional monitoring agents, so it leaves nothing to chance. Plans start at about $1 per day, plus a 60-day satisfaction guarantee, or you get your money back. Check it out at simplysafe.com/Tucker. Go to simplysafe.com/Tucker to get 50% off a new system with professional monitoring and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/Tucker. There is no safe like Simply Safe. And it seems to be collapsing so fast.
Yes. And it's not, again, you could be honest about it and kind of maintain some of your respect. But the truth is that, like, look, even when they'll say these things, like if you accuse Ben Shapiro of having dual loyalty, they go, oh, that's an anti-Semitic trope. That means you hate the Jews. But then he'll sit there in his own words and say, I forget his exact quote, but it was something like, my favorite thing about the United States of America is that it protects Israel. And so you're already saying you have loyalty to both of these countries. In fact, I'm not so sure about one of the loyalties, but I'm very sure about the other one. And that is not, I'm sorry, that's not a statement against Jewish people. I'm Jewish. I love Jewish people. You know, it's like I get called a self-hating Jew on Twitter or whatever. It could not be further from the truth. I actually really love Jewish people. There's many things about Jewish culture that have, you know, had a huge impact on me, made me the person I am, made me a better person for their impact on me. But this is a foreign government. Like, I'm sorry. We're allowed to talk about that. If you know, I saw Glenn Beck the other day had Douglas Murray on, and Glenn Beck wasn't like mean to me personally, but which I appreciated. But he was just going, I mean, it was just so ridiculous. But it's like, we're sitting here, we're having a conversation about a foreign government. You started crying on your show talking about this foreign government. That's fucking weird. That's weird. We should not be doing that. What the hell is going on here? Like, I don't even think you should cry about our own government, you know, but if you're going to cry about one, it should be ours.
And no one would even think to cry about our own.
Right. I mean, like, come on. Like, let's have a real conversation about this. And if you don't, especially, and by the way, this is not my primary goal. My primary goal is to tell the truth and to advocate for what's good for our country. But if you're concerned about like the young men getting a little bit too radical and you know, being too obsessed with the Jews or too against the Jews, which I do think is a legit concern.
It definitely is.
You know, that's not good for you. And it's not good for you. It's not good for the conflict. It's not good for the country. I just don't think any of racial collectivism always leads to bad places. I totally
agree.
You don't want to embrace that stuff. But if you're concerned about that, well, then the first thing you have to do is tell the truth. You can't keep lying to people, and you can't keep sitting here and going like, oh, no, the neoconservative. You can't say neoconservative, right? Isn't that Mark Levin? Didn't he just say if it's the neoconservative?
Mark Levin, who I also know. I mean, I've been in right-wing world my whole life. I know everybody. I work with Mark. Always gotten along with Mark. Always been nice to me. But yeah, he just accused the Trump administration of anti-Semitism for calling someone a neocon. What he did was he accused Steve Witkoff of anti-Semitism.
Right.
And I just want to say, I think Steve Witkoff is, if there's anyone who is, you know, has the hand of God on him, it seems to me, I sort of overstate it, but I feel that way. It's Witkoff, who's like a thoroughly decent man and who was running around the world trying to bring peace. Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.